This is the $1 million question. Kukulamak için bir burun, Muhammed Salah, the Egyptian king. Nothing comes easy as easy. ازاي اتعلمت اتكلم انجليزي؟ This is the $1 million question. نخش في الموضوع على طول. اول واخر واهم طريقة اتعلمت بيها اتكلم انجليزي هي اني ما اسمعش لاي حد يقول لي تعالى اعلمك انجليزي وهو بيتكلم لغة غير الانجليزي. Assalamu alaikum. Hello, welcome everyone. My name is Hussein Gamal. In this video, I'm gonna share with you with all the details, hacks, tricks, with the time frame, how I acquired English. Yeah, there is a great difference between learning and acquiring. And before we figure out the difference between learning and acquiring, I would like to provide a disclaimer. This video is dedicated to those who, like myself, have been learning English for years, but still struggle to communicate freely and effectively. If you're starting from scratch with zero English knowledge, unfortunately, this video is not for you. Alright, let's start with my brief story. I've been learning English like everyone on this planet. Back to the 4th grade in elementary English classes, tedious lessons of vocabulary, tests and quizzes, mysterious grammar sessions, how to use prepositions, how to use conjunctions, tests and quizzes. Moving to the college, I was studying chemistry, I was studying geology, all of that was in English, and guess what? I graduated from college and I can barely complete a 1-minute conversation in English. That's disheartening. No, I am not blaming the Egyptian educational system. Actually, that's a common problem all over the world, simply because that's not the way how English or any other language is acquired. The concept of acquiring language was introduced by Dr. Stephen Krashen. He's a linguistics professor, and I'm going to mimic his attitude using the Turkish language. İnsan yüzünde gülmek için iki göz, kukulamak için bir burun ve duymak için iki kulak. Yeah, I know you don't understand anything. Let's try it one more time with a simple modification. İnsan yüzünde gülmek için iki göz, kuklamak için bir burun ve duymak için iki kulak. I think you now understand better than before. In his book, Principles and Practice in Second Language Acquisition, Dr. Stephen Krashen highlights some key differences between acquiring and learning a language. Acquisition is a subconscious process, meaning it happens naturally and without much effort, like how children learn their first language. It focuses on communication by using the language in context and real-life situations instead of strict instructions and grammatical rules. Fluency development happens by regular exposure and practice. On the other hand, learning is a conscious process that involves more intentional study and understanding of language rules and structures. It's a formal education that occurs in classrooms where the focus is on grammar and vocabulary. For sure, learning improves one's knowledge of a language, however, it may not lead to the same level of fluency that comes from acquisition. It's all about comprehensible input. During your educational years, you were exposed to tons of vocabulary and grammar, only to later put it all out on a final test and then go home. As soon as you're not actively using what you've learned in real life, it's easy to forget it quickly. So, the secret is comprehensible input that is covering many aspects and fields of life, which I call extensive, with a spaced repetition, meaning you use those expressions from time to time. Now, we can put this into a formula. Contextual, comprehensible, extensive input plus spaced repetition equal acquiring a language. This is how any language can take a longer time in your brain. So I will resemble this formula through the 4 core skills of any language: listening, reading, writing, and speaking. However, at the beginning of my journey, I did not focus on the 4 skills individually, but rather combined reading and listening at the same time. Me personally found reading and listening are the input for the final product, which is speaking or writing the language perfectly. I mean, you can consider listening and reading as a building blocks for writing and, most importantly, for speaking. So let's begin. Keep it simple, keep it favorable, keep it memorable. What I mean by simple is just start with one video of 10 minutes at most per day. You open a video and start listening to the speaker and read the subtitles below at the same time. If you find words that you don't know the meaning of, pause the video and look them up. Personally, I use one of two dictionaries, Cambridge Dictionary or Oxford Learner's Dictionary, and this is my favorite. It's online free dictionary for American or British English with definitions, pronunciation, and example sentences.
Approximately. Approximately.
And then write down the words in a special notebook for new words that you always have next to you. And spaced repeat the list by re-reviewing the words after 3 days and re-review the words after 1 week. So the words will stay longer time in your memory. And it's okay looking up new words in your native language at the first stages. However, I strongly recommend looking it up in English meaning after a while as you progress. It might be challenging a little bit at first, but trust me, by doing that, you will foster your progression in the language. Let me show you what I used to do during my journey. The first resource I used at the beginning of my journey was the Learn American English online website. It offers levels from beginner to intermediate, featuring very short stories or topics that last no longer than 3 minutes.
This is a little boy.
Another helpful resource is LO website, which also provides short topics, videos, dialogues, and stories. You'll find a progression from beginner to advanced levels, making it easy to follow your learning path. All you need to do is open the audio, listen to the speaker, and read along with the scripts as you listen.
Conversation 1.
Are you hot?
Yes, I am very hot.
Personally, I found my comprehension improves more through listening than reading. I'm not sure if everyone feels the same way, but the takeaway here is to explore what works best for you. Discover the methods that make you feel comfortable and help you get the most benefit from your learning experience. My advice is to stick with this habit for about 1 hour a day, 4 days a week, for 3 months before we get to the next stage. That's what worked for me, and I hope it helps you too. After around 3 months, you'll be able to listen to some English videos without reading the subtitles. Always start with the easy ones. Listen to those who speak slowly. Listen to that you find your love in. Personally, I used to listen to podcasts or listen to videos talking about nutrition, living a healthy life, bodybuilding, boxing, relationship secrets, and more. But don't listen to podcasts if you don't have a good grasp of vocabulary and expressions. It might be disappointing. Also, don't start with long clips or conversations with difficult language or complex expressions so you don't get bored. Listen all the time. Seize the opportunity when you have spare time instead of randomly scrolling through social media. Try to make the process fun as much as you can. Try to close the circles over the boredom. Personally, I adore listening to podcasts while walking along the Mediterranean Sea, relishing the soothing sounds of the waves and the endless sea view. Again, the golden rule is keep it simple, keep it favorable, keep it memorable. Read anything aligned with your interests. Personally, I don't find anything attractive to me like reading books related to my career. I choose to take the hard track to read English rather than Arabic ones. Sometimes when I read, I find some words that I don't know. Sometimes it feels annoying, but I just quickly look it up and write it down on a notebook that I maintain next to me and spacing repetition it. Spacing repetition it? Is that an adjective? I read articles about nutrition, productivity, relationships, and healthy lifestyle. You can find this on WikiHow or any online platform. I also read ebooks using my Kindle, and there's an amazing thing about my Kindle. Let me show you. Let's open any book. When I start to read and find any word that I am not familiar with, I press for 1 second on the word and it will be translated. The device comes with multiple dictionaries, as you can see. Choose the one that works best for you. And here's my advice on this topic. Reading out loud. This is incredibly important. Reading out loud enhances understanding by hearing the words, which in turn, more language retention in your memory, in addition improving pronunciation. Take the hard track. I mean, if you find 2 texts, one in your mother language and the other in English, try to challenge yourself by reading the English one. Even if you find words you don't know, No problem. Look up their meaning. Undoubtedly, this will enable you to expand your vocabulary. Progress from easy to difficult. I mean, reading an article about the recipes of shakshuka or ta'miya is definitely easier than reading a Reuters article that contains more advanced expressions that normal people don't use much on a daily conversation. It is crucial to choose the content that matches your level of English. And don't forget, read out loud. It's mandatory. Write your diaries, your daily routines, or daily plans using Microsoft Word, as it will correct your spelling, or Grammarly, which is my favorite. If you find yourself at the beginning can't use many words and sentences to express about the topics you write, it's totally fine to use Google Translate from your native language, but you have to rely on your vocabulary package as you progress. This is the tough one. I know, my friend, you're waiting for this. Now the problem is, after you extensively acquire a lot of vocabularies and expressions, and familiarize yourself with many sentence structures, you may find yourself quite good at listening, reading, and writing, but you struggle so much in speaking. To be honest, the most single way to master speaking skills is to talk to people who speak English, and favorably the natives. But this is maybe a little bit hard to those who are not surrounded by people speaking English. Like me, it's like having all the pieces of the puzzle, but struggling to form a complete picture. Okay, I will tell you my own strategy during my journey. Shadowing. Shadowing refers to a technique in which you listen to the person who speaks the target language and simultaneously repeat what you hear. Let me show you. So I'm going to use this video from English Speaking Course YouTube channel. Let's begin. I'm going to play the video.
Good morning, sir. How can I help you?
Click pause. Good morning, sir. How can I help you? Play the video.
I'm going to California for a holiday tomorrow.
Pause. I'm going to California for a holiday tomorrow. Simply, this is a shadowing technique. There's also a phone apps that I use for practicing. First one is VOA Learning English. This application simply offers daily articles, and these articles are divided into small parts rather than being a complete without breaks. All you have to do is click on any part, which is 2 lines at most, and listen to the narrator, then repeat what the narrator said.
2 European satellites were recently launched on a mission that will include a simulated total solar eclipse.
The second app is UDictionary. It is simply a dictionary for translating words. You can find the word you're looking up in a context of numerous sentences, and you can listen to the pronunciation of the sentence.
He started eating an apple.
And the app provides an opportunity to practice and emulate the pronunciation, and also assess your pronunciation experience. The last one, and the best one for me that I found recently, is We Muslim. The best thing about this app is that you can read Al-Quran Al-Karim, the holy book of Muslims, in English along with the Arabic translation. You can also listen to ayat in English to know how they are pronounced.
And when they entered upon Joseph, he took his parents to himself and said, "Enter Egypt, Allah willing, safe and secure."
Another technique I use to encourage myself to speak is by identifying the names of everything around me. While walking down the street, I say to myself, look at that billboard. This is a street light. Over there is a flagpole. I also focus on describing actions with verbs like to plug in, to unplug, to flip close, to flip open. Just focus on your daily routine. You'll find a tremendous amount of activities to work with. Also, sometimes I challenge myself to create a number of sentences that describe a particular object. I'm going to give you an example on this. I am now standing in front of that building, and I'm going to tell myself to describe it in 3 sentences. Maybe I can say that building is called Urabi's Fort. I can say it is located on the eastern bank of the Nile River in Azbet al-Burg city in Dumyat Governorate in Egypt. I can say this fort was constructed by the French occupation as a defensive stronghold against attacks from British and Ottoman fleets in 1798, making it at 226 years old. You can describe how tall, how wide, how old. You can describe the color of the building. You can describe the buildings around it. Just give yourself the chance to talk. Speaking to yourself. Listen, buddy, I don't let any mirror in any place until I speak to myself in it. Come on, I got a great amount of input through listening and reading. How to get this out? Look at the mirror of the toilet, at the home, at the gym, and speak to yourself, or just randomly speaking to yourself. But be careful, and no one should see you. Find a character to emulate. I mean, to find a person that you find his way of speaking is very comfortable for you. You like his tone of voice, you like his content, you like his clarity of speech. And for me, the character is Andrew Huberman. He's a doctor. He has a YouTube channel called Huberman Lab that discusses neuroscience topics, health, and wellness with practical advices based on scientific research. But be careful, maybe hard a little bit for you if your English is not that good. And here's a list of Learn English YouTube channels that I used to watch during my journey. Before I get into this, I've heard a lot of people saying that you don't need to speak exactly like American or British people. Don't waste your time on this. Fluency doesn't mean you have to speak exactly like the natives. Speaking like a native is just a nonsense. The key is being understandable and communicating effectively with everyone. Okay, I respect this. So, what is the meaning of an accent? Accent is a distinctive way of pronouncing a language, often associated with a particular geographic region, which involve variations in vowel sounds, intonation, rhythm, and speech patterns. Learning how the American or British people say their words helps me in some ways. Speaking with a prestigious accent instills in me a sense of confidence that empowers me to communicate more freely. It allows me to set aside any internal doubts or fears that otherwise may hinder my ability to express myself and enable me to engage in conversations with greater ease and assurance. Number 2, it is strengthening my listening skills. I mean, I can open any video of an English speaker, turn off the subtitles, and I will find myself understanding anything. Okay, I'll be honest, maybe I will listen to some words that I don't know, but it's okay to look it up and write it down. That is totally acceptable. Every day I learn new words. Number 3, come on, have you ever tried to listen to the British commentator on a Premier League soccer games? That will double the enjoyment. Mohamed Salah, the Egyptian king, has an Old Trafford hat-trick here, and he captures the moment. The man is extraordinary. The match is extraordinary. The scoreline is extraordinary. That picture will be framed and kept forever by Liverpool fans all over the world. Another Mo Salah hat-trick, and this one at the expense of Manchester United at Manchester United. That was Peter Drury, Sky Sports Premier League commentator. By the way, British people, his name is Mohamed Salah. For your information. So, firstly, how to learn the American accent. I use just 2 sources. Number 1, Sounds American. This is a YouTube channel. Through the videos, you're going to learn how to sound like Americans, the phonetics of the American accent, the IPA system, aka International Phonetic Alphabet, and the set of symbols that represent the sounds of the American accent. I think it took me like 3 months to be familiar with these sounds. You see this vowel sound, which represent the sound O, like in the word go. I remember that took me like 3 weeks to pronounce it correctly, simply because we don't have this sound in Arabic. It was strange and tough a little bit for me. It takes time, my friend. Now you know how to pronounce the word in American accent, but you will find yourself pronounce the word separately, like what I'm doing. And that's not the way how the natives speak. So we need to know how the words flow one after the other and how the Americans merge and melt the words together to form a whole sentence. And the answer is Rachel's English. This woman is wonderful and she has a very simple way of explanation. She has several videos in which she analyzes speech, how to link words together, how Americans pronounce words quickly, the intonation of the words, how Americans drop some letters, and how Americans use some reductions. I think I watched 10 of those videos to learn how Americans speak, and that 4 months. Nothing comes easy as easy. After that, you have to practice what you've learned. Open any video, listen to the speaker and the way they utter the words, and repeat after the person speaking twice, 3 times, maybe 4, maybe more, until you find yourself comfortable with pronouncing the words. Am I learning Danny fastly? I choose to learn the American accent. After approximately 1.5 years, I began exploring how British people pronounce English. I found it quite easy. It wasn't as challenging as the early days of my learning English. I think all sounds took no more than 2 weeks of practice to be familiar with these sounds. That's because of my familiarity with pronunciation techniques and strategies gained all over my prior experience in American accent. This foundation enabled me to learn British English more efficiently. So, on the following channels, you'll find valuable resources for mastering British pronunciation. And for practicing speaking and shadowing, BBC Learning English and TED Talks will be more than enough. And in case you want to listen to any word in context by the natives, use Youglish. On this website, you just put the word on this box and you will find 3 options: US, which means you will listen to the videos in American accent, UK in British accent, and you will find all videos on both accents. As learning accent has many advantages, it also has some disadvantages. Along my journey, I was mocked by some people. I have come across many of these people who are skilled in the art of bullying. I almost meet them daily. بقول لك انا ايه، بطل تعوجلي في بقك دوت. انت فاكر نفسك خريج اليوسيه؟ كمان انت من دمياط. يا عم عرفنا انك توم كروز الانجليزي. اتكلم بقى زي الناس. اهلا بابن حواري كاليفورنيا. اقفل لي بقك ده خالص. Okay, please don't listen to them. They hinder you, they weaken you, they undermine your self-confidence. They make you vulnerable to abandon the whole journey and leave everything quickly. Go on your way and completely ignore these talks and forget about shyness. Speak and imagine yourself confidently communicating with others without worrying about how others might perceive you. But there's an essential caveat. Ensure that you are well prepared and knowledgeable about what you're saying. Authenticity is the key. Never pretend to know something you do not. The reason for doing this video is that a lot of people say to me, "Oh, you get a great accent. My goodness, I like the way you speak." And the usual question, how do I become talking like you? What do you do to talk like this? What is your hacks and tricks? Well, I say, I see this, I listen to that, I read this, I did that for a duration of this. Then they say, "Oh, amazing. Can you share with us all the resources?" And then I send them all the resources. And after a while, I found them on the same line of 0, with no progress at all. We get a great Egyptian saying, الأهم من الشغل تظبيط الشغل. The more important than the work is how to do it the right way. So, where is the problem? In my opinion, the problem lies in 7 factors. Number 1, failure to find the why question. Number 2, failure to set a specific goal. Number 3, failure to set the proper plan to achieve the goal. Number 4, procrastination. Number 5, impatience. Number 6, choosing the improper content that fits your level. Number 7, not accepting the truth of learning new things needs time. Let's break it down. You should ask yourself an honest question. Why are you doing this? Why invest your time, effort, or even money into learning English or anything else? Once you find a precise answer, you'll gain the motivation to pursue your goal. Personally, my answer, for example, was English is a dominant global language, which is the most widely spoken second language in the world. That means facilitate the communication between people from different native languages. Another reason, English is the language of science and technology, and most of the information available on the internet is in English. Another reason, I increase the opportunities to find a good job or to study topics related to my career, most of which are in English sources, etc. So, answer your why question. Embracing the habits of setting goals before you start any activity is very important. Having a clear goal gives you a sense of purpose and helps you stay on track. This goal must be SMART. This concept was first introduced by the management consultant Dr. George Duran in 1981, and SMART in this context is an acronym for 5 key conditions: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound. Let me give you an example for this. Learning how to pronounce the diphthong sound A from Sounds American channel in American English within 3 days. We can consider this as a SMART goal as we achieve the 5 conditions. And look at this goal. I want to learn English. You open YouTube and find a tremendous amount of videos talking about English learning. I bet you will give up the whole process easily after one video. If you fail to plan, you're planning to fail. If you succeed in setting a goal, then we need to make a plan to achieve it. So, how to set a plan? First, you need to detect the distractions that hinder you from achieving your goals. Usually that will be your mobile phone and notification of social media. Second, you need to specify the resources that you will use. I mean, your laptop or notebook for new vocab. Third, breaking down big tasks into smaller. Let's look at the previous example, learning how to pronounce this diphthong sound A from Sounds American channel in American English within 3 days. All you have to do is writing down the smaller steps that lead you to the desired result. First day, opening the video that illustrates the way that sound is pronounced on the Sounds American channel, reviewing and practicing the pronunciation of some words containing this sound. Second day, test yourself by pronouncing some words containing that sound. And if you find some areas where you need improvement, don't hesitate to go back and review. Third day, read the words in context and record yourself to make sure this sound is fully absorbed. Fourth, designate a specific time each day for learning. By establishing a regular schedule, you'll create a habit that becomes a natural part of your routine, whether it's after lunch, dinner, at the weekend, or whatever the time that works best for you. Consistency will make it easier to incorporate the learning process into your daily routine. Fifth, monitor your progress. A crucial part of assessing the effectiveness of your learning system is to evaluate your performance. Take a moment to reflect on where you started and where you are now, based on the timeline you previously set. Think about how well you've adhered to your plan. Are you keeping up with your tasks, or have you found yourself procrastinating? Also assess your English skills in speaking, writing, listening, and reading. How do they compare now to when you began? By doing this, you'll be able to identify any gaps and focus on areas that need improvement. Number 4, impatience. On his book, The First 20 Hours, How to Learn Anything Fast, Josh Kaufman wrote, the research shows that you can take 20 hours from being incompetent in a skill to be reasonable good. 20 hours of learning and practicing. That means 45 minutes for a nearly month. It's applicable, it's doable. You just have to be patient and realize that everything takes time in this life. It's okay to write on the search bar English conversations for beginner or learning English for beginner. You don't need to open a video of a philosophical debate and start to understand what the speakers say or listen to the natives that speak so fast. Choose carefully the content that fits your level. Alright, my friend, if you don't follow the previous advices, it might mean that procrastination is creeping into your journey. Do your best to make things easier for your brain. When you introduce obstacles, that prompting your brain to seek more comfortable options. So keep everything straightforward and manageable to help you stay on track. Not accepting the truth of learning new things need time, and time here may be years. I've been learning English for almost 4 years, and until today, I learned new vocabulary, new expressions, new idioms, and even new colloquial expressions of the natives. Videos that comes with the title, How to Learn English in 3 months. That's not gonna happen. Or let me say, that will depend on the level that you will be good with. By the way, I don't know what my English level is. Is it A1? Is it B2? Is it C2? I don't know. I don't care. I am caring about the process itself, the journey itself. I am caring about that every day is a new chance for learning something new. So I recommend not to indulge yourself on level numbers and rather enjoy the process as whole and ask yourself how to progress every day. Also, I have to say, During the past 4 years, I didn't spend much time learning grammar. I learned a lot of it during my school years. Indeed, from time to time, I look up some grammar rules, but not constantly. So, my advice to you is not to waste a lot of time learning grammar rules, at least in the beginning of your learning journey. After 4 years of learning English, I am not saying I am a fluent English speaker, and I can classify myself as a person who is trying to learn new things every day and enjoying the journey itself, and instead of obsessing about how to reach quickly the fluency level. After all, no one really knows how long that will take. Focus on being better than you were yesterday and challenge yourself with tasks that you couldn't accomplish before. To me, this is what the fluency is all about. It's the support and motivation you need to keep going on your learning journey. Remember, just a few steps can take you closer to your desired destination. كل اللي انت شفته في الفيديو ده مجهود شخصي ما كلفنيش اكتر من الاشتراك الشهري للنت الارضي. هل الموضوع صعب؟ لا، انا مش بكلمك في استنتاجات رياضية ولا معادلات كيمياء عضوية. هو الموضوع قد يبدو انه صعب بسبب طول المدة اللي بتعيشها علشان تشوف نتيجة. هل الموضوع ممل؟ احيانا. لا، هو غالبا الموضوع قد يكون ممل بسبب ان انت ممكن تعرف كلمة او جملة وتعرف نطقها ازاي، ثم تستخدمها، ثم تنساها، ثم ترجع تسترجعها، ثم تنساها، وهكذا. فدي حاجة مش لطيفة يعني، وممكن تبقى محبطة احيانا، ولكن انت تمام، مفيش مشكلة ومستمر في عملية التعلم. الموضوع قد يكون ممل بسبب ان انت دايما مش في الحالة المزاجية المثالية اللي تخليك تقرأ او تسمع او تتكلم باللغة، ولكن بالرغم من ده انت مستمر في عملية التعلم بسبب بسيط، هو ان تعلم اللغة شيء مهم في العصر ده. لو انت شايف ان الفيديو ده فادك بأي طريقة كانت، شيره، اكيد في غيرك كتير هيبقوا محتاجين يتفرجوا عليه. سلام.